Sure.
Yes, we have today Manjari Chandra ji with us. She is a functional nutritionist and practices nutritional medicine. Her work and experience ranges from being a clinical coach to advocating holistic wellness. Besides integrative clinical coaching, she is also a noted speaker, media person, and a published author. So she features as an expert on mygov.in website promoted by the Indian Prime Minister, has authored many research and review scientific papers in India and international journals. Manjari has worked for leading hospitals of India, and Manjari has been a recipient of many prestigious awards, such as Ashokam Award for Popular Consultant in the field of wellness and nutrition. A World Women Leadership Congress 2022 awarded her as Exemplary Women Leadership Award. Global Choice Awards 2021 Women Icon of the Year. Ayush Award for Excellence in Wellness and Nutrition. CMO Asia Award Leadership Award for Women Super Achiever Award. ET Now Award Star of the Industry. We have this celebrity with us. Yes, Manjari ji, welcome to our India Home session. It's all yours now.
Thank you so much, Geeta ji. Thank you for the kind introduction. And it's really so heartening to be with all of the senior members today. I've interacted with a few of them last time also. Am I audible? Any problem with my
No, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I've interacted with a few people last time also. I did a session, and it's so heartening to be with all of you again. There's a little time difference between India and New York, so it's late evening, almost night in India, and really nice to be with you all. Dr. Rao told me that he's traveling in India, and that's why he'll not be there for the session today. He mentioned that to me.
Right.
So let's dive into this. Today we're going to talk about basically supplementation. So what has happened is that generally, our food is our medicine. Hippocrates said this thousands of years back, that your food is your medicine. And if you eat your food like medicine, you really don't need medications. But what happened over the years is that our soil, the soil in which we grow our food, is not that not that nutritious anymore, because we're using a lot of agricultural pesticides, insecticides, artificial fertilizers in our soil. So we are not growing food very organically. So the food that we eat now is slightly depleted in nutrients. The second thing is that the food that we eat now is processed by industry. There's a lot of milling, refining, processing, addition of unnecessary substances to the food, causing the food to not be as nutritionally dense as it should be. So therefore, what has happened is a lot of people nowadays have something called micronutrient deficiencies. They have deficiencies of vitamins, minerals, sometimes antioxidants. So today we're going to talk about what you can do to ensure that your basic nutritional requirements are met. And because before I dive into this, I would like a couple of people, if possible, all the seniors who are with us today, if possible, if any of you could mention if you're on any supplements, nutritional supplements, what we call as nutraceuticals, not the drugs, but supplements. If any of you are taking any of the supplements and would like to unmute yourself and tell me about it, one or two people, that would be really nice to set the tone rolling.
Yeah, I take Ensure with protein.
Yeah, Ensure is a protein supplement. Anybody who's taking a mineral or a vitamin or a herb or a botanical?
Good morning, Manjari. This is a Kishan Bhai. Good to have you all the way from New Delhi. I'm taking it multivitamins and B12 all across vitamins with approval of my physician doctor.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else who's taking anything?
Yeah, I'm Urbila. I'm taking one a day for women, B complex, vitamin C, and calcium.
Yeah. So thank you for that that insight. So what has happened is our doctors tell us to start taking some supplements. Yes, because in our blood work we find that sometimes vitamin D is less, vitamin B is less. You feel fatigue, you feel pain in your joints or in your limbs. You feel things like acidity and also some supplements are prescribed to help you. But there's not enough understanding of why these supplements are prescribed, which are the right ones to be prescribed, what should be the combination, what should be the dosage as per your, requirement and as per your age and stage of life. Mrs. Nagaraj, you want to say something, ma'am?
Yes, I take turmeric supplement as a capsule because it was advised my physiatrist for my back pain. And I know it is all processed and it is a high concentration turmeric because we use it all the time at home too. So I want to know how effective you think it is to take these concentrates.
Yes, we'll talk about that, Mrs. Nagaraj. Okay, thank you for that question. Okay, so we'll talk about about this and all the other specific things that we need to talk about. But let me first tell you about the concept of functional foods. So typically what happens is that when we eat food, we eat it for its nutrition and for the fact that it is driving our life and our health. But there are certain foods that we know which have certain elements in them which can help our biochemistry much better. There are certain foods which can actually prevent us from a lot of diseases and also help us in treating certain diseases. And we call them functional foods. So these are not supplements. These are foods that are found in your and my home, which we could use as medicine. For example, this is just introduction to what functional food is. Let me take you through examples of these. Look at the slide here if you can. If you see there's a group of food items here on the left. For example, the first group is cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli. Do you know that these vegetables are one of the most powerful vegetables? They have something called glucosinolates. Now, these are very, very strong immunomodulators, detoxifying agents. In fact, they help in reducing blood sugar. Similarly, all the vegetables and fruits that you eat, which have strong yellow, red color, have the strongest antioxidants known to humanity. Carotenoids, beta carotenoids, which have strong antioxidant properties, and they prevent aging, they prevent many diseases. Then, for example, if you look here, some seeds like flax seeds, walnuts, chia seeds, they have something called omega-3 fats, which is naturally present in very high amounts. And these fats can reduce your blood pressure, keep your arteries clear, reduce the extent and how much effect the cardiovascular disease is. So similarly, for example, turmeric, you were talking, Mrs. Nagaraj, you were talking about turmeric. Now, turmeric is one of the most potent herbs known besides garlic, ginger, chicory, and things like celery, dhania that we eat at home, cilantro or coriander. Turmeric is actually a very strong herb. It can literally do almost all forms of activity. It reduces inflammation, it's antioxidant, it's anti-cancer, it stops mutagenesis, or the growth of the tumor in the body. If anybody has tumor, it can actually be anti-cancer in nature. It is anti-diabetic, antifungal, antiviral, does not allow virus and fungi to multiply in the body. So what I was talking about now, these are just foods, but these foods have these very, very good medicinal properties. Now what we have done today is that maybe, the amount of turmeric that you need for the anti-cancer effect you may not be able to do that with using turmeric in your curries or in your food that you make at home. So sometimes now we are trying to take these substances in the form of supplements, which we call the botanicals, the herbals, and that is what I'm getting into now. Okay. So what are dietary supplements? So as compared to pharmaceuticals, dietary supplements means anything which is either a vitamin. We know that vitamin A, D, E, K, B, C, these are vitamins. Then or it's a mineral like iron, magnesium, zinc, selenium, iodine, molybdenum, or it is a herb like tulsi extract or neem extract or a ginger extract. So it's a herb, or it's a botanical. Like for example, you have something called berberine, which reduces insulin in the body. You have something called gymnema, which reduces diabetes. So it can be a botanical. It can be an amino acid. There are certain amino acids that improve our muscle strength. L-carnitine, alpha-lipoic acid. So that could also be a supplement. Then sometimes it's a combination of these. Sometimes some supplements, like somebody was mentioning about, I think Mr. Kishanji was mentioning about A to Z, you know, you're taking all the vitamins and minerals in combination. So a dietary supplement is anything which is either a mineral, vitamin, herb, botanical, amino acid, or a combination of all of these. Okay, now I'm not going to get into the details, but you can just have a quick look here. These are the common supplements that are prescribed: amino acids, fish oils, minerals, vitamins, fiber. A lot of people take things like isabgolum, psyllium husk, cod liver oil, vitamin C, vitamin B. We know that vitamin C, if you have a flu, if you take high doses of vitamin C, it can help you fight the flu far better. Yes. So similarly, these are others. These are herbs. Like this was, sorry, these are supplements. These are herbs that are used as supplement. Let me point out a few to you. You see, the second last one is milk thistle. Do you see that written here? Milk thistle is actually one herb which is silymarin. Now this herb is known. There's been enough and more research, and there's been enough and more cases which show that if you take milk thistle or silymarin as a herb, it can reduce your cholesterol levels, and it can actually help in reversing fatty liver. So for people who have grade 1 or grade 2 fatty liver, milk thistle can be an effective way of helping yourself with getting rid, at least, or redeeming your fatty liver. Similarly, garlic, for example, can reduce your blood pressure level. So for people who are hypertensive, a garlic can be taken not just as food, but also as supplement, instead of only depending on medicine. So these are the common herbs or botanicals that you can use as supplements. I'll get into the specific ones now. Let's talk about supplements for cardiometabolic health. Cardiometabolic health essentially means supplements that can decrease your cholesterol, supplements that can improve people with hypertension, supplements that can support people with diabetes, supplements that can reverse fatty liver. So when I'm talking about cardiometabolic health, I'm basically talking about hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterols, and fatty liver. These are the four main things that we're talking about. Out of the cholesterols, not many of us know that the most important thing that you should look at in your lipid profile is something called triglycerides. Triglycerides are actually a type of storage fat. Unlike cholesterol, you know that cholesterol is required by the body to manufacture a lot of hormones and neurotransmitters. Triglyceride is a fat which your body does not need at all. If you have zero amount of triglyceride in your body also, the body can function normally. But what happens is with our lifestyles, the levels of triglycerides increase, and they are a storage of fat. They're a type of fat which is a storage unit, and high levels of triglyceride are the main risk factor for diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterols, cardiovascular events. Okay, so that is why many supplements are targeted towards reducing triglyceride levels in the body. So the first supplement I'm going to talk about today, which is good for your cardiometabolic health, is called omega-3. We've all heard of omega-3 fats. Omega-3, you know, the fats are omega-3, 6, 9. Basically, it's the number of chains. Fatty acid is basically, I mean, I wish I was with you and I could draw on a board, but fatty acids are basically fats which have something called long chain fatty acids and a component called glycerol. So depending on what form of fatty acid is there, it becomes omega-3, omega-6, or omega-9. Omega-3 is a cardioprotective fatty acid. It has multiple health benefits. It increases your good cholesterols, so it decreases triglyceride HDL ratio. It reduces the atherosclerotic activity in the body, so it reduces the plaque buildup in the arteries. It reduces your triglycerides, can actually reduce BP and inflammation. It's anti-inflammatory, so it prevents heart disease, and it also improves your cardiovascular health. Now, typically, if you're looking for an omega-3 supplement, the omega-3 fats are made of two components, the EPA and DHA. You must have heard of it. EPA is essentially eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA is docosahexaenoic acid. Now, these two are found in omega-3, but the combination or the ratio in which EPA and DHA is found is critical to the quality of omega-3. So if you're taking an omega-3 supplement, the ideal combination should be 2 parts of EPA to 1 part of DHA. For example, if you're taking a 1500 milligram omega-3, then 1000 milligrams should be EPA and 500 milligrams should be DHA. So the ratio should be 2:1 of the EPA DHA in the omega-3. Typically, the amount of dose that you require on a daily basis for omega-3 is normally 1000 milligrams to 2500 milligrams, but around 1500 milligrams tends to be a good dose for normal people to consume. Omega-3, the thing to remember about omega-3 is that it is derived from fish. You know, it's a fish oil. So for people who are vegetarian, now they have an algal source, that they use some algal source also for deriving omega-3. So even if you're vegetarian, you can go for a vegetarian omega-3. The next important thing to remember about omega-3 is that sometimes omega-3, if it is old, you know, if the oil is not fresh and it was extracted many months before and not properly kept in the right temperature, then it can become rancid. When you eat the capsule, you will feel the rancidity of the oil. That's not correct. That means that the oil has denatured, the fish oil is denatured, and it has now free radicals which can harm your body. So when you pick up an omega-3 supplement, remember it should be a new batch of supplement that you should pick up. Okay, so these are the things to remember about omega-3. Anybody wants to say anything or ask anything about omega-3, and then we'll go to the next supplement.
Please unmute yourself. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself.
No worries. We can take the questions later also.
Sure.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say was omega-3 is a good supplement to have. Remember a few things. One, if you're vegetarian, look at a vegetarian source of omega-3. If you're taking omega-3, look at the EPA-DHA combination, and around 1500 milligrams is a good dose. Also, look at how fresh the batch of the supplement is, because old batches, the oil can get denatured and can harm you instead of benefit. Okay, so that's omega-3. The second.
So this is Neelam. I have one question about omega-3. Thanks for this nice presentation, ma'am. So we can take it just like that, or do we need the doctor's advice on this omega-3?
See, typically for omega-3, you don't need a doctor's advice. It's like eating fish or like eating flaxseed. Yes. So if you're taking up to 2500 milligrams of omega-3, you don't need a doctor's advice. If you have a cardiac condition, like for example, if somebody has BP or inflammation or high LDL levels, high cholesterols, then you can safely take it. Anytime when you're taking a supplement like this in high doses, you should always take it for some time, then discontinue it for an equal amount of time and then restart again so that you don't overdose yourself with the supplement. Okay.
Sorry, one more question. Like, even though we are eating chia seeds, flax seeds, walnut, and all omega-3 things, even then we should take this supplement, omega-3?
Yeah. See, I'm not a believer of supplementation. I'm a believer of food and, taking nutrition from food. But sometimes you still get very little omega-3 from your food, because Indians, typically, I'm assuming most of us are Indians, we're not that big fish eaters or meat eaters.
Right.
We don't end up eating seafood like people in Hong Kong would do or Japan would do. We still don't eat that much amount of seafood or fish. So, and we also don't eat the good fish. Like, we don't get salmons and sardines the way European countries have it, Nordic countries. So therefore, it's okay to have a little bit of omega-3. You can have it in small, for small time, like a couple of months, and then stop it and then restart.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else wants to say anything, or we'll go to the next slide?
Kishanji raised his hand.
Yes,
Kishan, do you have anything?
Yeah, Manjari, I have a question, but as far as taking a omega-3 supplement, can we take same time a fish oil supplement also? Because there's age at this age and stage, we want to be healthy and be sure we're getting all enough supplement. So in form of omega-3, can we take a fish oil supplement along with the omega-3 supplement, or not necessarily?
Omega-3 is a fish oil only, Kishanji. Omega-3 is derived from the fish. It is fish oil. It's not cod liver oil, it's fish oil. So it's almost similar if you take omega-3 or fish oil. It's almost the same thing. See what the composition is. See the ratio of EPA to DHA, and see how much the dosage of the fish oil is. You can take maybe a picture of the slide or something, and I'll share the slide so that if anybody wants to refer to the dosage and all, you're most welcome to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, Neetaji. Neetaji, you want to say something?
Yes, I have a question. If we take a flax seeds or a chia seeds every single day, so you're trying to say that we should discontinue that few days and then start again? And how much is the quantity we have to eat for every day, I mean?
A general thumb rule for any supplement would be to take it for up to 2 to 3 months. That is the amount of time the body takes to stock up on that supplement, and then discontinue for some time so that you don't get any sort of, you don't get into an overdosing. Also, you don't have any side effects of taking something for a very long time. Although these supposedly shouldn't come with any side effects, but still, they are made in pharmaceutical companies. They are encapsulated in gels or some form of, plastic packing. So therefore, it's okay to discontinue for some time and then restart. And for people who are eating chia seeds and flax seeds and fish a lot, then you may just, take it on alternate days instead of taking it every day. Because there is no prescription per se for these. This is like saying how much green vegetable should I eat? You could eat it every day, but you can eat it on alternate days also. So
okay, thank you so much for answering my question. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so the next supplement that I'm going to talk about now is magnesium. Very underrated but extremely powerful micronutrient called magnesium. Now, if you look at magnesium, there are around 300 biochemical reactions which are catalyzed by magnesium, which means that in our body, the biochemical reactions that happen, magnesium becomes the catalyst. It is the thing that is, a catalyst is something that does not get used up in the reaction, but propels a reaction, allows a reaction to happen at the right rate. So magnesium, now, one of the reasons we need magnesium is because in diabetes, our body gets very depleted. Or the more sugar your body has and the more carbs you consume, the more the magnesium is used up. And people who are diabetic have typically very low magnesium levels because magnesium is literally used up by the body. So one of the, of course, a lot of foods, that's why I always mention food, because one of the best ways to do is with food, you know. So seeds are very good sources of magnesium, whole lentils, millets, you know, like for example, quinoa, jawar, buckwheat, these are good sources of magnesium. But in case you have diabetes, or you have blood pressure, or you have insulin resistance, or you have inflammation, magnesium is a good supplement to have. Also, additionally, what magnesium does is it relaxes your nerves and it removes pain. So if you have pain, chronic pain, you can consume magnesium and you know, literally sleep on magnesium, because consuming magnesium when, just one moment, please. Give me a moment, please. Give me a moment. So I was saying that magnesium has many other benefits. One of them is that it reduces pain in the body and it also relaxes your nerves. So it's a good idea to take magnesium at bedtime. That's the ideal time to consume your magnesium supplement. It will allow you to sleep better, and it will also help you in relieving pains and aches. For example, I'll give you an example. For our patients who are undergoing cancer treatments like chemotherapy or radiotherapy, we give them excess of magnesium to reduce the pain that they have. Instead of using a painkiller, magnesium can do the same thing. Another great thing about magnesium is that you always don't need to eat magnesium as a supplement. There are many other ways in which you can take magnesium. For example, there are magnesium oils available now. So you can just rub the oil on your skin, because your skin can absorb magnesium very effectively. Then there is something called Epsom salt. I don't know whether you've heard of it, but it's magnesium sulfate. Epsom salt is a compound of magnesium called magnesium sulfate. So you can, it's available everywhere, like a small packet, 200 rupees packet. In India, it's freely available in a pharmacy. So you can take the Epsom salt, put it in a tub of warm water and soak your legs or feet in it. And your body can absorb the magnesium from that water. So this is called an Epsom salt bath. So for people who are not able to sleep well, or who have magnesium deficiency, or who have pain or any discomfort, they can use magnesium baths, which is essentially dip their feet or legs in a tub of lukewarm water with a couple of teaspoons of Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate. So you can eat the magnesium also as a supplement. There are good supplements available. The best form of magnesium supplement is something that ends with an 8. So orotate, glycinate, picolinate, citrate, these are good forms of magnesium supplements. And you can take up to 500 to 1000 milligrams of magnesium at bedtime. Okay, so let's see if anybody wants to say anything about magnesium, and then we'll go to the next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Manjari ji, Kishan Bhai here again. It was excellent on magnesium. I had, I think, 1 or 2 questions. I do take a magnesium supplement, and I had cramps in my legs. But every time I take magnesium supplements, the cramps go out. And I just want to be sure if this is correct. And number 2 question I have, your good suggestion, advice about the oil rubbing on our body. Would you suggest any particular oil or just any kind of oil?
There is specifically magnesium oil available, some good brands easily available. And these are not normal oils. They're basically magnesium compounds only in those oils. And what you do is you take the magnesium oil on your palm and you rub it where the skin is really soft. For example, the underarms. This is where your skin is really soft. Or you can rub it in your thigh, in a part of your thigh, near your groin. That's where the skin, or you can rub it in your feet before. So that allows the magnesium to be where the skin is very tender. that's where the magnesium can be properly absorbed by the body. So that can be done. And of course, you can do Epsom salt baths. In fact, anybody here who has pains and aches, try the Epsom salt bath. You don't have to eat the magnesium also. Just dip your feet in that warm water with Epsom salt. It works really well. It works like magic. You know?
Yeah, here also it's available in all the
any time
pharmacies.
of the day or just a night time or before go to bed or in the morning, anytime?
It's always better to do magnesium at bedtime because it also promotes sleep. You know, it also promotes sleep. So it's better to do it at bedtime always.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, just how about this is Harish ji? And my question is that is this good for the leg cramp at the night time to the magnesium pill? That is good or no good?
No, for people who have pains and cramps, this can help, but that does not mean that only magnesium will help. No, for example, if your vitamin D level is very low, if you're not absorbing calcium, then also you can have pains and aches. Pains and aches can be because of many reasons, but in magnesium, taking magnesium may help relieve some of the pains and aches.
Okay.
That's how you
So some people are taking the regular pill of the magnesium 400, 500 milligrams. Is that okay to keep it as a completely regular medication like that daily or just go on and off?
Okay, so minerals typically, like if you look at iron, magnesium, zinc, selenium, iodine, they're water soluble. They are soluble in water. And so they don't clog up in your body. You don't have too much in your body because the body removes the excess. Having said that, you're giving your kidney extra work to do if you're overdosing yourself. Yes. So that's why I was constantly saying any oral supplement that you take, always discontinue it for some time and then restart again. Never continuously take it for more than 3 to 6 months at a time. Always discontinue and then restart in a couple of months. That gives the body a chance to sort of stabilize itself.
Suppose we are taking Centrum Silver, that vitamins, should we go also on and off or it should be go for the regular vitamins?
I'm going to talk about these multivitamin supplements like Centrum, which is a very, very common brand in the US. As per my knowledge, these don't work too much because what happens is they've put everything in that one supplement in very small doses. And that really is not effective enough. You know, instead of taking it, it is better to take targeted minerals and vitamins. Like for example, if you have a folic acid deficiency, take folic acid. If you have a vitamin D deficiency, take vitamin D. If you have zinc or iron deficiency, take that. Taking a combination supplement is not the best idea. And specifically if you have a condition, if you don't have any condition and you're generally very healthy, then maybe it's okay. But if you have any specific condition, then you should identify the nutrient that you require and take that instead of taking a combination medicine, which promises to do everything but doesn't really deliver much.
So here in the US, everybody takes the vitamins more than so many vitamins in the morning. Yeah, just like breakfast. Oh my God. We are taking the Centrum Silver, vitamin D3, so many number of five.
We are getting into the other ones also. I'm getting to the next ones also, sir. But again, I repeat myself and say that a combination of too many minerals and vitamins is not a great idea. It's a good idea to take the target. Okay, let's go to the next one now.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about vitamin D3. How's the weather in New York? Is it gray today or is it bright and sunny?
It's bright and sunny.
Yeah. Okay. So good. It's bright and sunny. Go get some sun today. Okay. Don't forget to get out into the sun and soak up some sun. And when you're soaking up the sun, there are two things you must remember. If you're fully covered, especially your limbs, then you're not going to absorb any vitamin D. So ensure that you're exposing your body to the sun. So that's first point. Second point is that And another important tip is that try and not wear a sunscreen or a body lotion when you're exposing to the sun. Because if you use a body lotion or a sunscreen, then the UV radiation cannot penetrate the skin. Then there's no point of the sun exposure. Okay. In fact, what you should do is apply some good oil on your apply some really nice herbal oil, or maybe something like a almond oil or something on your skin when you get sun exposure. So I'm repeating myself, get some sun, expose your body to bright sun. If you're wearing full sleeve clothes, then there's no point. Second, don't wear any body lotion or an SPF blocking sunscreen. And third, if you could wear an oil, a good quality oil on your skin, that's better, because you see, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. And if you remember, in India, we used to do sunbathing. You'd remember in your days in India, people would apply oil and sit in the sun. That is the right way of getting the sun. So that was for what you can do with the sun. But let's come to the supplement bit. So in case you're not getting enough sun, and if you're low in vitamin D, you can take vitamin D as a supplement. The problem with vitamin D is that it's a fat soluble vitamin. So if you only eat it through mouth, sometimes it does not get absorbed in your body, because it's not the route for vitamin D absorption. Your gut is not where vitamin D is getting absorbed. It's normally absorbed in the skin or in the muscle. So actually, most of the time when people are very low in vitamin D, we request them to take intramuscular shots of high dose of vitamin C, at least a couple of shots. So the point you see here is IM shots of 3 lakh international units or 6 lakh international units of loading dose of vitamin D. These are intramuscular shots that are given in the muscle, because vitamin D is fat soluble. So if you eat it orally as a pill, not much of it is absorbed in the body. So therefore, one best way is sun exposure. If you still are low on vitamin D, then take some intramuscular vitamin D. If you can't, then the next bit is to take an oral supplement. Oral supplementation of vitamin D should be high. It should be at least 1,000 international units per day. And whenever you eat vitamin D, you should always eat it with a fatty meal, a meal that has some form of fat. Like, for example, if you're adding ghee or olive oil, or if you're eating butter, or if you're eating some nuts and seeds, have the vitamin D with that meal, which includes these fats. Because unless there is fat in your food, the vitamin D will not get absorbed in the gut. And the last bit about vitamin D is, there's a lot of talk about hypervitaminosis of vitamin D, that is toxicity of vitamin D, because if you take excess of vitamin D, it can be toxic for the body. So ensure that your K2 levels, vitamin K2 levels are normal. So nowadays you get vitamin D in combination with K2, because K2 is that man which takes the vitamin D to the right place and does not toxify your liver or your kidney. So what K2 does is, it's the guide. It's basically helping vitamin D to go into the teeth, into the bones, into the hormones, wherever it's required, and not settle in your kidney and your liver. So the K2 is the good guy which guides the vitamin D. So ensure that you're taking vitamin D with K2 if your K2 levels are low. Okay. So that's for vitamin D. Anything that we want to talk about vitamin D, and then we'll go to the next one. Okay, let's go to the next one then. Have you heard of coenzyme Q10? Anybody taking Q10, CoQ10 here?
Yes, I'm using CoQ10. Okay.
So CoQ10 is basically an antioxidant. It's a very, very potent antioxidant. And typically, food also contains, for example, if you're eating whole nuts and millets and seeds, you will get some amount of coenzyme Q10. But for people, again, who have any cardiovascular condition, like high cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, coenzyme Q10 can be used. What it does, one of the significant things that coenzyme Q10 does is that it increases the amount of available nitric oxide in the blood. You remember in COVID, we were all checking our oxygen saturation, the SpO2. Similarly, in our blood, we also have another gas called nitric oxide. What nitric oxide does is it dilates your blood vessels and it keeps the blood circulation proper. So what CoQ10 does is it promotes the nitric oxide in the body. So can you please switch on the slide? So, you can take coenzyme Q10 if there is any cardiometabolic condition that you have, or generally for heart health, for cardiovascular health. Coenzyme Q10 typically is available in milligrams of supplements. So you can take, around 100 to 200 milligrams of coenzyme Q10, depending on your age and what is your heart and cardiovascular health condition. And normally you don't need to do too much of coenzyme Q10. Normally around 2 to 3 months is enough, or maximum 4 months. After that, you should stop the coenzyme Q10. Maybe next year you can look at it again. So for a year, around 8 weeks to 12 weeks maximum, or actually 8 to 10 weeks is enough. Okay, that's coenzyme Q10. It's also called ubiquinone, and it's ubiquinol or ubiquinone, and it's a very powerful antioxidant. In fact, during COVID, it was used highly, and it was very helpful for people because it was allowing their arteries to become little widened and allowing the blood supply to become normal to the heart and to the lungs. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, these, besides those supplements that I was talking about, these are just generally things that can help in maintaining your blood pressure normal. So anybody who has hypertension, if you're eating antihypertensives, a better thing would be, instead of looking at only the drugs, look at the things that can keep the blood pressure normally low. Folic acid. If you're low on folic acid, please correct your folic acid, which is this B vitamin. And it's very easy to correct your folic acid levels. It's a water-soluble vitamin. You can have, it's a very small pill called Folvite, which is available. So correct your folic acid levels, because this is directly correlated to your blood pressure and to your, heart health. Similarly, potassium. You know that sodium increases your blood pressure. Potassium sort of literally brings down your blood pressure, because there is a sodium-potassium pump in the kidney. And potassium also acts as a diuretic in people who have, any form of high blood pressure. So therefore, potassium is very powerful. A lot of normal foods like citrus fruits, oranges, a lot of green vegetables have a lot of potassium. So you can eat those also. But if you have high BP, sometimes a little bit of potassium supplement is okay. You require very little, 25 to 50 milliequivalents. And it's a small thing that you get, a small thing that you dissolve in water. Always have potassium with lots of water, because potassium can cause diarrhea. It's laxative in nature. It causes the gastroesophageal reflux to happen. So you have this colic reflex, and you tend to have diarrhea. So if you're taking potassium, you have to take it with lots of water, so that it does not create the gastrocolic reflex and does not cause diarrhea. And the last is L-arginine, which is an amino acid, but it is directly related to your blood pressure level. So in case some of you can, one or two people can take L-arginine as a powder. It's available as a powder, so you can take 2 grams of it dissolved in water. So these are just generally micronutrients, which is folic acid and potassium, and an amino acid, L-arginine, which can help in keeping your blood pressure normal or reducing your hypertension. Now, this one is pretty interesting, the one that I'm going to talk about now. These are herbs that are so easy to consume, and they are so effective. In fact, many of these herbs work better than oral hypoglycemic agents. Now, what are oral hypoglycemic agents? Oral hypoglycemic agents are pharmaceutical drugs that we take which reduce our circulating blood sugar. So if you check your fasting blood sugar, postprandial, random blood sugar, that blood sugar can be reduced by taking these medicines called oral hypo, like you take metformin or glimepiride or vaglivose, sitagliptin. These are the common medicines. But you know that most of these medicines are very harmful. They are nephrotoxic and hepatotoxic. They toxify your liver and your kidney. So an easier way really to look at diabetes would be to look at these herbs. Some of them are so easy to take. For example, berberine. Berberine is actually a combination of herbs from a couple of plants. There is philodendron and golden seal. It's commonly found in India also. And berberine has been clinically studied extensively. I use it in a lot of my diabetic patients. And using this reduces the insulin resistance, improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces your blood sugar, just like any medicine would. And it's a herb, and it can be taken as a simple dose. It's normally taken with a meal so that it can be effective. The second one is cinnamon. We also call it dalchini in Hindi, which is found in your kitchen. If you don't want to take a supplement for cinnamon, just take some cinnamon, powder it, crush it, powder it, add lots of cinnamon to your soup or your broth or your green tea, whatever you're having, you know, and that way you can have a lot of cinnamon through the food. But for people who are diabetic, a little bit of cinnamon once in a while as a supplement also works very well. So you can take up to 500 milligrams once a day or twice a day, depending on what form of the supplement it is. Now, cinnamon comes as two supplements, a direct cinnamon supplement or an extract of the cinnamon. So if it's an extract, you need lesser. If it's only cinnamon, then you need a higher dose of cinnamon. The next herb that is really helpful for diabetes is called gymnema. I don't know whether you've heard of it, but this is a very interesting herb. If you eat, I have a sample of this, I wish I could give it to you, but if you eat a bit of this gymnema and you keep it on your tongue, you know, you can't taste sweet. So what gymnema does is it alters your taste sensation. So it reduces your craving for sweets. And that is one of the very, very easy ways of reducing your blood sugar and your intake of sweets. Besides that, gymnema can also reduce your blood sugar levels. So gymnema is again a herb. It's a leaf thing like tulsi, and it's easily available. Some people in India, like in Hyderabad and all, they grow gymnema in their houses, you know, in pots, and they eat the leaf. But if you can't get the leaf, then you can take some of the gymnema as a supplement. Besides these, if you see that picture that is next to these, there are many other herbs which are very good for diabetes. For example, the seed of jamun, which is Indian blackberry. For example, oral hypoglycemic things like black pepper. For example, fenugreek, which is methi dana. All these are also sesame, black sesame. All these are also very effective in reducing your blood sugar levels. Okay. So do you want to say anything about diabetes or hypertension supplements, or shall we go to the next category? Anybody has anything to comment or say or ask, please?
How about the metformin? They give the metformin tablet is good. It is not a herb, right?
Who am I talking to?
Harish.
You're talking with the
Harish.
Yeah?
Yes, Mr. Harish. See, metformin.
Yes.
Metformin is essentially a medicine. What metformin does is it basically changes the way what is happening is, let me take a minute to explain this, because a lot of people have diabetes. 40% of Indian adults now have diabetes. It's a common thing. See, what happens is when you eat food, the carbohydrate portion of food, which is essentially anything which is starch or sugar or milk or sweet fruits, anything which is carbohydrate gets converted by breaking down in our digestive system into glucose. Now, because we overeat breads and fruits and sweet things and candies and things like that, there's too much of sugar in my blood. When there is a lot of sugar in my blood, then there is too much production of insulin in the body to put the sugar in place. After a point, the insulin, poor guys, cannot do its job properly. The body is now resistant to the action of insulin, which is what we call insulin resistance, which is the underlying condition for diabetes. Now coming to metformin, what metformin does is it does not address insulin resistance. It only changes the uptake of sugar by the cell. So you can take metformin because metformin is a safer drug to take, and you may need metformin because you may not be able to mechanically reduce your blood sugar. But taking metformin is not a treatment, it is a management part of diabetes. You manage your blood sugars better with metformin, but it's not treating your diabetes. You can actually treat your diabetes by changing the way you eat. If you reduce your carbohydrate load in your food, insulin behavior automatically starts improving in the body. So metformin is a safe drug. It is one of the safest ones known. It also has other advantages. But remember, a medicine is a medicine. It always has some side effect, a small one, but it will always have small side effects. So the more you can control your blood sugar with diet, the less you will require the metformin. Yes, so that is the way to look at it, Mr. Harish.
And it is says some extended release. What that means? So the whole day it works?
It's called slow release glycophage that you take, a form of metformin, which is essentially glycophage. It's a slow release. So what it's doing is that all the metformin does not release into the blood right away, in small amounts through the day. So through the day, your sugar is managed. It's not in one spurt that all is released.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering the question.
I have one question about this medication, the herb medicine. That's the bottle that contains all this combination of this medicine. Like this bottle, your nurture.
Okay, so who am I talking to, ma'am?
Sushmaji. Sushmaji is talking.
Sushmaji, can you repeat your question? I didn't get it properly. Very sorry.
I see the bottle, sugar nurture, something like that. And that contain all these herbs, which one you show, that cinnamon, jamun. So what's the name of sugar nurture? That's the medicine name? It's Ayurvedic.
Ma'am, there are many available now. There are at least 50 types in India available, which have a combination of these herbs. They have a combination of berberine with cinnamon, with gymnema, and many other things also added to it, like fenugreek, sesame. So you just see what that is, what combination it has, what are the herbs it has, and it should have enough of those herbs. If it is very little micrograms, like for example, if you see, I was showing you that you should take 300 milligrams of berberine. If that combination has only 5 milligrams of berberine, then it won't work for you. So then whatever combination you take for that herbs for diabetes, there should be some amount of dosage of these herbs. If it is very little just for namesake, then it won't work for you.
Is it effective, this medicine help?
Which medicine, ma'am?
That's the bottle. That's how the doses and all, like that.
Which one you have?
I don't have anything. I'm just seeing here on the screen, the bottle. And that's a sugar nurture, I think. That's medicine.
Yeah, this is just this is just an example. This is only an example. This is only, I just put the picture to tell you that these are the combinations of, I'm not saying that this is the right medicine. That's not what I'm saying. There are a lot of these available. You have to read the ingredients behind what all is there and how much of it is there, in what combination.
Yeah, okay. Is it that help in sugar control?
Yes, it does. Berberine, gymnema, these are super effective. So much so that patients don't need diabetes medications if they start taking. things.
I'm not familiar with this berberine. What is this berberine?
Berberine is an extract of plants and is an oral hypoglycemic herb. It reduces the amount of circulating sugar, also works on insulin sensitivity.
Okay, thank you. Nice.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So the first category of supplements we were talking about was for cardiometabolic health, which includes diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, fatty liver. The next category of supplements we'll talk about is supplements for your gut health. Now, why is gut health so important? Because your gut, if I can say this in Hindi, when we were younger, and our grandparents and I mean people in your age or older than you would always say that agar पेट ठीक है तो सब ठीक है, पेट साफ होना चाहिए, because all your functionality really lies in your gut. If your gut is not working properly, it will not absorb the right nutrients, it will not produce the right hormones, it will not produce the right neurotransmitters. 70 to 80% of your immune system lies in the gut. So your gut health is super important because it controls your mental health, it controls your hormones, it controls your micronutrient absorption, it controls your immunity. So it's super important. Now, if you look at gut health, there are certain things that can help improve gut health. We'll talk about those supplements. I'm sure all of you know about probiotics. Yes, so probiotics, again, the image here is only for information. I'm not saying this is the right product that you should consume, okay? But I'll tell you what are the things you should look at when you look at a probiotic. Now, let's try and understand what a probiotic is. A probiotic is nothing but live bacteria. So you're literally eating healthy bacteria, and how you could actually do it with food. For example, you know that fermented food, we spoke about this the last time also, things like homemade pickle, kanji, apple cider vinegar, kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, fermented soups, fermented vegetables, fermented fruits like fermented raw papaya, all these foods have naturally live bacteria in them. So you can eat these foods to get the probiotics, which is the live bacteria. There are some very good bacteria that are required by our body to do multiple things. They are doing so many things that it's just amazing the amount of work these bacteria do for us. So the important ones are lactobacillus, streptococcus, saccharomyces, bifidobacterium, enterococcus, other forms of bacillus bacteria. These are the main ones. And if you look at probiotics, if you look at the backside of these probiotic supplements, they'll have these bacteria mentioned, how much of lactobacillus, how much of bifidobacterium, saccharomyces they have. So when you choose a probiotic, basically what you have to look at is how many of these bacteria are there. Is it only lactobacillus? Try and choose a probiotic which is a combination of most of these healthy bacteria: bifidobacterium, lactobacillus, saccharomyces, Escherichia, all of them. And also the second thing to remember when choosing a probiotic is to see that the dosage of the probiotic gives you more than 10 to the power 11 CFUs. You can see here. CFUs is colony forming units. Bacteria don't exist as single units. They exist in groups. They are called colonies. And these colonies, amount of colony forming units that probiotic has is the way to decide which is the right probiotic. And so you have to basically look at two things. What are the types of bacteria it has, and what is the amount of colony forming units in that per dose of that particular probiotic. Now, probiotics, I'll give you a little bit here, which I'm sure you already know. Do you know that probiotics, your gut is actually manufacturing your B12? Even if you don't eat enough B12 in your diet, you're vegetarian, but if you have very good gut health, your B12 levels will be normal because your gut bacteria makes B12 for you. Your gut bacteria also makes vitamin K2 for you, which we were talking about, which is the guy which takes vitamin D to the right places. Your gut bacteria also helps in absorption of iron. It also helps in calcium metabolism. So if you have low levels of B12, K2, low hemoglobin, low vitamin D, low calcium, then also probiotics can help besides these micronutrients. If you have a serious infection, let's say if you have a strong flu or a urinary tract infection, and you're taking very strong antibiotics, those antibiotics don't just kill the disease-causing bacteria, they also destroy your gut bacteria. They kill all the good bugs also. So when you're taking antibiotics, then you should also take a probiotic with it, so that you're replenishing the good bacteria in the body. Okay. So basically, probiotics are live bacteria. There's some good species and core genera of bacteria that your body requires. They do multiple things for you: immune system, your neurotransmitters, hormones, micronutrients. All of it is looked by the bacteria in the gut. So look at a good combination and look at effective colony forming units if you're taking a probiotic. The right way to take a probiotic would be to early in the morning, empty stomach. That's the best time to consume a probiotic. When you've not eaten anything and you're empty stomach, that's the best time to eat your probiotic. Okay. Want to say anything? Anybody wants to say anything about the probiotic bit, or we can go to the next one? The second category of supplements that work for gut health are prebiotics. I'm so sorry, this is not probiotic, this is prebiotic. This is by mistake, it's probiotic written here, it's prebiotic. So there are two categories of supplements we are looking at: probiotics, which is live bacteria, and the second one that I'm talking about now is prebiotics. So please pardon me for mentioning pro instead of prebiotic. Prebiotic is like you can eat good bacteria, you can eat things that can help the good bacteria to multiply. And that is what prebiotic is. Prebiotic is actually food for your good bugs. It is the food for your good bacteria. So what are prebiotics? Basically, they are fibers. You see, our stomach cannot break down certain types of fibers and certain types of soluble fibers, like you'd see the name here, no? Inulin, fructooligosaccharides, galactooligosaccharides, some forms of fructose, which is an isomer of fructose, oligofructose, resistant starch, short chain fatty acids, butyrates. These are all things that our body cannot break down. So these become the food for our good bacteria. You still eat them because they're not feeding your nutrition, but they're feeding the good bugs, and so allowing the bugs to function normally. And that is called as prebiotics. And in food, there are a lot of prebiotics that you can eat, all the fibers, raw vegetables, starchy underground vegetables like sweet potatoes, yam, carrots, all these are very rich in prebiotic fibers. And the last thing that I want to add here is there's one more form of prebiotic that not many people talk about, which is called a natural form of fat. Do you know that good fat is also food for your healthy bugs? So short chain fatty acids, ghee, homemade cow ghee, medium chain triglycerides found in olive oil and coconut oil. These are things that become food for your good bacteria. So good fiber and good fats, these are what allow the good bacteria to multiply, and they are called prebiotics. So another category of supplements that are available are prebiotics. Now, prebiotics are not very regular supplements that you can just pick up. It depends on what is the condition you have, and basis that you can choose what For example, if you have a lot of constipation and a lot of acidity, then you should choose inulin or more fructooligosaccharides. If you have a lot of bloating, if you have acidity, maybe you should use an oligofructose. So the prebiotics that you can pick up from as a supplement will vary depending on what is bothering you or where you are in terms of your health, gut health. So that is a little bit of a, you have to go into details and find out and decide what prebiotic you want.
Excuse me, if everybody have big guts, if they want to lose fat from the guts, what kind of food they should eat?
Sorry, somebody is saying if you want to lose fat, there is no fat in your gut. The fat is in your abdomen, in your abdominal visceral cavity, which is outside the intestine, outside your liver, outside your kidney, sometimes also in your liver. That abdominal fat on your abdomen, which is your midriff section, whether it is
so what kind of food they should eat, like,
Sorry, ma'am, come again, please.
What kind of food it help you to lose the abdominal fat?
It's a very separate topic from what we are talking about today, but I will quickly delve into it.
Sorry.
No, I will definitely try and answer this quickly. Ma'am, see, abdominal fat, that is the fat stored around your stomach and inside your abdominal cavity, happens because let's say of some sort of a problem that occurs with fat deposition, the biochemistry of fat deposition. Why should I store fat in my abdomen when that was not the primary place to store fat? That is because some disruption has happened in my biochemistry. And the disruption that has happened is that I am consuming a lot of carbs, telling my insulin is a fat storing hormone. It tells your body to store fat. So when you've already stored in your thighs and your back and in your liver as glycogen, then it starts storing the fat in your abdominal cavity, visceral cavity. So it's essentially a problem with your biochemistry because of insulin resistance, which is also the reason for diabetes. That is why we call it diabesity. The disease is actually a combination of obesity and diabetes. And mostly it happens because of insulin resistance. And this mostly needs addressing by changing or reducing the amount of carbohydrates you have, especially simple carbohydrates. Like if you cut down hugely on your breads, fruits, milk, sugars, grains, if you cut them down significantly, then you can lose belly fat because the fat in the body will start getting mobilized because you're not eating carbs. So the fat gets used for energy. And it's a simple switch. Basically, the body can either break down sugar for energy. If it doesn't get sugar, it will start tapping on fat for energy. It's a simple switch that the body has. So one way of getting rid of belly fat is to cut off carbs from your diet, which includes grains and all these breads and sugars and industrially processed food and milk and sweet fruits, all that have to be done. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next one now, besides probiotics and prebiotics, there's certain other micro supplements that are very good for your gut health. So this is just a list of 2 or 3 of them, which are extremely effective. For example, there's an amino acid called glutamine. So L-glutamine, it literally repairs the cheese lining of your intestine. So for people who have perforation in the intestine, or they have something called the leaky gut, or they have any form of inflammation in the intestinal lining, L-glutamine can literally repair that intestinal lining. So L-glutamine is another one. Then you have peptides called collagen peptides, basically. What collagen does is it's the building block of tissues. So it repairs the intestinal lining. And there's another one called DGL, which is diglycerized licorice. Licorice is, you've heard of it, yes? What do we call licorice in Hindi? I think it's called muletia, as far as I remember. Let me just check. So licorice is a normal herb, And what you do is you remove something called glycyrrhizin, which is GL from the licorice, to make something called DGL. This is a very effective thing for the gut again. So this is also easily available. So anybody who has inflammation of the gut, or has reflux, or has poor gut health, or has a lot of bloating or acidity or indigestion, can look at L-glutamine, collagen, or DGL also, because they help in repairing the intestinal lining and reduce the inflammation. In fact, DGL improves the lubrication of the intestinal lining by creating more mucus in the intestine. So it keeps so it's like we add grease to a machine so that it's more smooth. The running is more smooth. There's less friction and less inflammation. Okay. Now, the last one that we'll do today is for the thyroid, because a lot of people also suffer from thyroid disorder and hypothyroidism. Many times, when you have a hypothyroid condition and your TSH is high, normally what doctors do is they put you on something called thyroxine or eltroxin, which is Thyronorm, which is synthetic T4 that they give you. So synthetic T4 is the hormone that is normally found in our body. You take it orally through that medicine, and that way, until you keep taking the T4, your TSH levels will be normal. But it's really, again, not addressing the problem. The reason for high TSH or low T3, T4 levels is because you have deficiency of micronutrients. For normal thyroid function, selenium, iodine, zinc, iron, folic acid, vitamin B, vitamin E, all these are required. If there is a deficiency of any of these, then the body cannot make enough T4 and T3, or it cannot convert T4 to T3. So the triiodothyronine and thyroxine, the two hormones that are made by the thyroid gland, require selenium, iodine, zinc, iron, tryptophan, and amino acid, B vitamins, vitamin A and E. So if you're low on any of these, the thyroid cannot function normally. So a better way really to address the thyroid would be to take these micronutrients. And now you have formulations available, which are called thyroid support formulations. So this is just an example that I've put here. Basically, what they have is something like this. Typically, you'll find that they'll have something. They'll have B vitamins, iodine, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper, and tyrosine, tryptophan. So kelp, is a normal source of iodine. Kelp is a a sea vegetable. So they normally, you get nowadays these thyroid support nutraceuticals, which are a combination of the right amount of micronutrients in the right amount, so that it can allow your thyroid to function normally. And you don't need a medicine to manage your thyroid condition. And that is what, either ways, in case you don't want to take a medicine, remember, these are the micronutrients that are required. So if you are low on iodine, or for example, if you're eating white salt, which is processed salt, then you will be low on iodine. If you eat salt with natural iodine, like pink Himalayan salt, or rock salt, or black salt. If you're low on magnesium because you're not eating enough nuts and seeds, if you're low on zinc because you're not eating enough peanuts or maybe enough green vegetables, if you're low on selenium, then the iodine may be underactive. So it's better to look at the micronutrients that are required for normal iodine function, correct them. And sometimes if you have already are a known case of hypothyroidism, then you can take a supplement for some time to restore these levels to normal, so that you don't need to be constantly dependent on a medicine for managing thyroid. Okay. And this is, I think we are running out of time, Ms. Geeta. So I think it's 8:45. So this is my last, not talking about melatonin. We all know that melatonin is a hormone that promotes normal sleep. So so for people who are feeling depressed, or who feel very stressed because you have high cortisol levels, or who are not able to sleep properly, can take the support of oral melatonin. It comes as a supplement in normally from 0.5, around 3 grams of melatonin for a normal adult typically does the job. If you take melatonin for sleep, you have to take it around 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So you don't have to take melatonin while going to bed. If you're going to bed at 11 p.m., then you take it around 8 p.m. in the evening, so that the melatonin levels can be put back to normal. That's really my last slide, and I'm running out of time. Otherwise, I could wanted to present more, but maybe we'll do another one, to take more. If you have any questions, kindly go ahead.
Manjari, just quick and fast question. This is Kishanji. There's one item before this, DGL. Is it easily available in the USA? Would you know it?
Yeah, DGL is very easily available, sir. Diglycerated licorice is very easily available. It's a very common supplement now.
Okay, and, thank you. Yeah, I think whatever it offers, I got everything, whatever it is offering. So I will start taking it. Thank you.
Okay.
So if you take thyroid medicine empty stomach, and then probiotic is supposed to be taken empty stomach too, how do I figure it out?
Yeah, so probiotics, what you can do is you can take your thyroid empty stomach in the morning, and maybe 10-15 minutes later you can take the probiotic, as long as you've not eaten it. You've not had any tea or any nuts or anything, you can take the probiotic.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, hi, I'm Neelam. About that acid reflux, you gave one L-glucomine, where it is available, how, in what form?
L-glutamine, is that what you're talking about?
Correct. Yes.
L-glutamine is available as a powder, easily available as a powder. Like you get Ensure or normal protein powders. It's basically an amino acid available as a powder. You can just take 5 grams with a cup of water. And remember, all these supplements, you need not take for a very long time. You can just take for a small time. And
it helps in acid reflux?
It basically helps in repairing the intestinal lining. What will help more in acid reflux will be prebiotics and probiotics. Those will help.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
And one day we'll talk about acidity, because a lot of people have it. Actually, acidity is a spasmodic thing, and it's more because of a physiology and less because of not taking these supplements. So we'll talk about how to manage acidity normally also, maybe the next time when we speak.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
Knowledgeable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Informative. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Was very helpful. Thank you.
That's very kind of you to say.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Manjari ji. It was like very informative session. Definitely would like to have you for the acidity topic too. Lot of people, they suffer from, they have those issues. So it's going to be very helpful. Thank you so much. And people, we have recorded this session. You can go back to these slides and her presentation. Thank you so much. I know it's too late for you, we went over time. Thank you for your time. And yeah, bye everyone. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.